Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening for the Collegewise Virtual College Fair. A few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to ask questions to our presenters at any time. You can type your question to a specific school by including their name, or leave a question for all of our representatives or a few of them to answer about their institutions. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. This is just one of many different sessions happening, so be sure to sign up for additional sessions through our program. This presentation, as are all presentations, is being recorded, and they'll be available within about a week at the same website where you registered. I'd now like to get ready to turn it over to our presenters. We're here in session E8, learning about schools in Maryland tonight. Our first institution will be Johns Hopkins University.
Hi, everybody. My name is Pat Salmon. I am from Johns Hopkins University. And a few things about us. We were the first research university in the United States. So research is a big part of what we do. We were also founded with a liberal arts focus. And so we want students to learn from across the curriculum. And we really want students to combine these two things. So learning across different areas of the curriculum, taking that learning and applying it in different places. Our campus is located in Baltimore City. The Homewood campus is home to our Krieger School of Arts and Sciences, Whiting School of Engineering. As you can see to kind of the left of that, many of our different kind of graduate schools and some research laboratories are located elsewhere throughout the Baltimore area and even down into Washington, D.C. When you come to Hopkins, we want you to have some time to discover things and explore things, try new areas of interest, find what it is you want to major in. So when you apply, you actually just apply to the university. You don't apply to one of those colleges. You don't apply to a specific major. When you come, you have until the end of your freshman year to declare a major in engineering. You have until the end of sophomore year for arts and sciences. 52 majors, 46 minors, lots of opportunities. Classes tend to be relatively small. Our average class size, just about 24 students, but 74% of those classes are actually smaller than that. So you'll get to know the faculty well, you'll get to know your peers well, and we want you to have the opportunity to work closely with both the faculty and the peers that you have. Like I said, research, hands-on learning, so internships as well, extending the classroom is important to us. We want students to go out to have those opportunities. 80% of our students are doing research, 85% are involved in internships. You can start things as early as freshman year, you might wait longer. We have resources on campus to help you connect with the different opportunities, whatever they may be. Research, internships, they take place across all the different academic areas of study, all the different places that students might have academic interests. And so it is important to us that you learn, because when you have those experiences beyond the classroom, it's not just beneficial for you. It's not just you taking that experience and adding on to it, but you also bring those experiences back to the classroom with you. And your peers do the same. And so we want you to have that opportunity to share with the community and learn kind of together from those hands-on experiences. Outside of the classroom, we want students to have opportunities to grow as well. We have 400 different student-run groups and organizations. They're doing everything from getting involved in the arts scene, their cultural groups, religious organizations, political organizations. We have students that are involved in academic area and career area focus groups. There's athletics at varsity, club, and intramural level. We have a lot of students who are involved in things that bringing things to campus. So groups that are around student activities for fun, for things that they like to do, bringing musicians and bands to campus. Both of our major speaker series are entirely run by our students. They decide who to bring to campus, and they're supported by the president and the rest of the organization to make sure that we can bring those speakers in to spark the conversations and debates that we have throughout campus. Students also engage in service. About 60 groups do service on campus. They focus primarily on Baltimore City. They're doing things like tutoring, getting involved in environmental causes, bringing arts and music into after-school programs. There's a group that buys up abandoned lots in the city and turns them into playgrounds or gardens, depending on what a neighborhood needs. And so students really think of themselves as citizens of Baltimore during their time at Hopkins. and they want to engage with the city through service, but they also want to go out. And this is just a few shots from around town that you might see if you come to Baltimore. And so students are out in the city doing things for fun. They're engaging in different kind of activities, the art scene, the cultural scene throughout it. Baltimore is a great city for young people. We have about 100,000 college students in the Baltimore area. You'll hear from some of other area schools as well. And students are able to kind of connect with other students through our College Town Network, which connects the 13 colleges in Baltimore and the immediate surrounding areas. So students can engage in that. Baltimore is also wonderful because there's lots of opportunities to do things for free or for low cost. So there's festivals throughout the year. Many of our museums are free. And then on top of that, the university is able to kind of provide discounts or free opportunities for students to participate in other things in the city that might be out of a student's budget. And so we want to be sure that students engage and learn from the city and use it both for fun, for service, and also as a way to kind of get a different insight into the world around them. Lots of support structure as you go throughout this process to make sure that you have the support you need as you go out into the workforce. Our Life Design Lab serves as our career center, and they help you think not just about what's that first job or how to write that resume, but really to think about your career, to think about the things that interest you and the strengths that you have so that you can apply them different ways. Quick note on financial aid, we meet 100% of demonstrated need for our financial aid students, and we're fortunate enough that we don't have loans as a part of our financial aid package. So if students qualify for financial aid, that financial aid comes in the form of grants, which not to be paid back, and potentially federal work study. You can find out more on our financial aid website. There's a few tools as well. You can see here, we're very generous and we want to make sure that Hopkins is affordable so that we can bring together a strong community of students without them having to worry about kind of the financial impacts of the university. So we're able to do that and we're fortunate. So visit our financial aid for more information. And finally, just a few things, a couple deadlines. We want to know about you as a student. We want to know about you beyond the classroom. And really what we're thinking of when we think about your application is you as a future member of our campus. So through the application process, please just help us see you as much as possible through the different parts as a student beyond the classroom, and then in your own words through the essays. If you want to learn more, come visit us. We have stuff all the time coming up. So thank you all for your time.
Thank you so much, Pat, for sharing more about Johns Hopkins. Our next school will be McDaniel College.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Brooke Hain. I am the Associate Director of Admissions at McDaniel. We are located up in Westminster, Maryland, which is about 40 minutes northwest of Baltimore and about an hour northeast of DC. So we are in North Central Maryland in a suburban rural sort of setting. We do have 1,800 undergraduate students on campus. We are small, private liberal arts and sciences. We do currently have about 1,300 of those 1,800 students on campus as well. Hold on one moment, there we go. And then our classes are capped at 35 students, but they average about 15, and then student to professor ratio is 12:1. Really what you're going to see our education focus on is students first, and really making sure that students gain strong communication skills as well as mentorship throughout their time at McDaniel. About 85% of our students do live on campus. We do guarantee housing all 4 years that students are there. You'll find that most students opt into that to really feed into that traditionally residential sort of feel. We have over 70 programs on campus. You can see a sort of selection of those here on the slide, both with what are most popular and then what newly formed majors are. Many of those new majors or programs we did already have on campus. For example, we've had an American Sign Language Deaf Studies program on campus since the 60s, but they were just sort of really given the title of major at this point in time. You'll see that most McDaniel students end up doing more than one program on campus. It's certainly not required, but due to the flexibility of our core curriculum, and I think just the type of student that chooses McDaniel, they really want to take advantage of all of those opportunities that they have. The McDaniel plan is going to be our core liberal arts and sciences curriculum. This is a pretty broad overview understanding. You can certainly go to our website and get a little bit more in-depth information. But really what this is looking to do is to honor the tradition of the liberal arts while giving you as a student autonomy and flexibility within the curriculum. So we're going to look at the liberal arts as big, broad categories, and then you're going to take classes within each of those categories. And on average, you'll have anywhere from 30 to 50 classes that you can choose from. So that in all likelihood, you're able to take a class that's going to double dip with what you are choosing to study. And in the cases where that doesn't exist, that you're able to at least take something that feels interesting and of value to you and is not just sort of a checkbox that you need to do in order to get to the next spot. A lot of these are very similar categories to what you may be taking in high school, just with fancy names on top of them, and really look at, again, those core pillars of the liberal arts and sciences. The other piece of our core curriculum is what is called the McDaniel Commitment. This is really focused on experiential learning. So this starts with some mentorship courses that happen in My Place in My Design, both before you get to campus, the summer before your first year, and then in the January term of your first year. So really focusing on what long-term goal setting looks like, helping you to explore different majors you may be interested in. If you know what major you want, to start to look at internships, whatever that might be, but really beginning to build on those skills that you started to learn during high school. My experience is the bulk of the program, and that does guarantee that all students have at least 2 off-campus learning experience. That can be through internships, service learning, research, study abroad, you name it. As long as it's off-campus, then that is really going to qualify. Most of our students are going to do those experiences out of Baltimore, Annapolis, or DC if you're doing it during the semester. Of course, over a summer break, over a winter term, we can get you connected with alumni that are in other parts of the country and world as well. We do have our own campus in Budapest, Hungary. We are the only American college or university located in Hungary. So that is a very popular option for our students to study abroad, but we do have affiliate exchange programs with over 55 other countries. The last piece of the commitment then is My Career. This is really looking at all of the awesome stuff that you've done and then talking about how do we get it ready for life after college? How do you put that on a resume? How do you network? How do you move forward with a lot of those soft skills that you will learn, but how do we begin to connect those dots with you before you leave campus? As far as sort of some community profile and fast facts, again, we're located in North Central Maryland. You're right in the middle of town. So local restaurants and shops are walkable for students. You do have Target, Walmart, the mall, Chipotle, Dunkin' Donuts, all of that good stuff right there in town. We do have a shuttle on the weekends that goes to the metro stops to get into Baltimore and DC, and that is free for students so that you can get in and enjoy those experiences as well. On campus, we do represent about 35 states and over 20 countries. This year's first year class does represent 17 states. The last 2 first year classes have over 50% of students who identify as a student of color, and 40% of our students are first generation college students. So you are going to see diversity happening in a number of different ways. We were the first co-ed institution south of the Mason-Dixon line. So a commitment to equality and inclusion is something that you will see on campus and really has been a part of our fabric for our entire time in existence. We do have 24 Division III sports on campus. We are part of the Centennial Conference. That's going to include a lot of the liberal arts institutions in the Mid-Atlantic. Hopkins is one of those, among others. And then you will also see that our average GPA for this year's first class was a 3.5. Our application process is pretty straightforward here. You can find out more about that on our website for sure. The big thing is nothing has changed for us because of COVID. We are test optional and have been for over a decade. So that's not something to stress about at all. Certainly, if you have questions about any of that information, particularly about application process stuff, please feel free to put it in the chat. This is my contact information, so you can also take a screenshot of that or take a picture with your phone, and then you have my email if you'd like to send something later.
Thank you so much, Brooke, for sharing more about McDaniel with our attendees. All right, our next school will be Mount St. Mary's University.
All right, hello everybody. So I'm going to be talking about Mount St. Mary's University. We are just west of McDaniel. So we're about an hour from Baltimore, about an hour and a half north of DC, right on the PA Maryland border. We are a small private liberal arts college. We're a Catholic institution. We're actually the second oldest Catholic college in the country. You can see some of our stats up here. We've got a fairly small student body, 1,800, 1,900 undergraduate students. Most of those are on campus. We're able to open back up pretty successfully this semester. Very even splits in terms of our demographics, 50-50 male, female, 44 states represented. You can see most of our students do live on campus. We have housing for freshmen all the way through seniors. I mentioned we're a Catholic institution, so we were founded in 1808, so we've been around for 212 years. We do see most of our students are Catholic, but definitely not a requirement for our students. Most of our students find their Catholic tradition at the university through service and through just the community that we try and build on campus. We do have over 70 majors and minors. So talking about all of our different programs, we have a core curriculum, which is about a third of the total curriculum for students, but we do give students a lot of opportunities to try different programs. You have until the end of sophomore year to formally declare a major. Our largest majors are biology, business, education. Undecided is actually our biggest incoming major. So we do see a lot of students coming in wanting to take their time figuring out what they want to do. And students do get the opportunity to double major, triple major, pick up minors. So there's a lot of flexibility in how students put together programs. A couple of our newest majors, cybersecurity has been very popular. Philosophy, politics, and economics, PPE, is also extremely popular for us. So we do see a lot of students going into some of our new programs. We're always trying to keep those updated for our students. As I mentioned, we're a small school, so you'll definitely see that come through in our average class size. We don't really have any classes on campus bigger than 30 students, but our average class size is about 18. So we do see a lot of opportunities for students and staff to get to know each other. All of our classes are taught by full faculty, so we don't have any graduate assistants or teaching assistants doing any of the teaching or grading in classes. So it does give students that one-on-one interaction with their faculty. So again, 13-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio. And again, you'll see that come through also in labs, practical experiences, a lot of very hands-on experiences for our students and faculty. Talking about professional or practical experiences, 76% of our students have an internship before graduation. We found that this really helps our students figure out first what they want to do. So we see a lot of students using their internships to figure out what they might want to major in or what they want to do with that major after they've selected it. And then at the next level, we do see students starting to use the internship to start to network, find positions. One of my favorite stats at the Mount last year, our graduating class, over a third of them had a full-time job offer or grad school acceptance by March of their senior year. So having the internships, having the practical experiences definitely helps students kind of fast track their experience and not have to wait until they've graduated or the summer after to really start to fine tune what it is they're going to be doing after they leave us. Very engaged student body. I would say that's one of the things that helps us determine who's going to be a really great fit at the Mount, are students that are really looking to stay very engaged. A nice mix of clubs. There's things that are service oriented. We see a lot of organizations that are focused on just building community. We see a lot of organizations that are focused around like our Office of Center for Student Diversity. So a lot of what we call affinity groups. We see things that are major related. So there's a lot of different opportunities for students to get engaged. We have a big club fair the first week of classes, so very easy for students to walk around, talk to a lot of folks, a lot of upperclassmen. And since we are a small school, there are a lot of leadership opportunities within those clubs. So we do see students getting very involved very quickly, being able to be leaders while they're on campus. One of the other ways that students stay pretty engaged are athletics. We are one of the smaller Division I schools out there. So again, under 2,000 students, but still having 24 men's and women's Division I sports. So we see about a quarter of our students are Division I athletes. So that really helps us keep those students and athletes very well integrated into the rest of campus life. Our student athletes have a higher average GPA than our general student body. So there's no lack of focus on academics. And then we also see those students graduate at a higher rate as well. So we'd really try to put the student and student athlete with all of our students that are going through. Men's and women's basketball, probably two big sports. Lacrosse, very popular on campus. Men's rugby has been very competitive. They're actually not Division I because they operate outside of the NCAA, but have been a very successful team. And then women's bowling is in our third year, and they've been nationally ranked every year since they started. Talking about some of the other sports, Too fast there. We do have a lot of students that aren't ready to compete at the Division I level, so we have clubs and intramurals. So a lot of opportunities again for students to stay engaged at whatever level of competition they want. And then there's also obviously arts and leisure clubs. There's esports is one of our newest competitive teams. So we all are always again looking for new ways for students to kind of interact with each other. I mentioned service, so I did want to just kind of have a couple stats on this. 75% of our students complete service while they're at the Mount. Not a requirement. It's not something that's required, but we do see a lot of students that have done that during high school or see the value in that. It really is for our students a great way for them to think about how they're building themselves, not just academically while at the Mount, but also think about ethically and morally, really becoming good people and taking the mission of the Mount out into the world. So there's a lot of opportunities for that. And then I mentioned before, talking about the clubs, the leadership positions. Again, as a small school, it gives us a pretty unique opportunity to let a lot of our students be leaders, have a voice in what's happening on campus. Our president holds monthly town halls where he gets feedback from students. So there's a lot of that back and forth, and students really feel empowered while they're on campus. Just quickly finishing up talking about our application process. We are test optional. We started that program last year. We were very successful, got a lot of great feedback from students. So continuing that this year, you can see a little bit of our averages in terms of where students are coming from. Our early action deadline is coming up, but we do make the application very easy to navigate for our students. So we really only are requiring the transcript, one letter of recommendation in the application itself. So we do try and make it very easy for students, but we do have a holistic read while we're going through the application. And I'll just finish by showing our scholarships up there. They're also on our website as well if you want to see those.
Sorry, Eric, I hit my button a little too fast. I haven't done that before, so sorry about that. But definitely, if you have questions about the scholarships or want to go on the website, please feel free to check that out on the website. All right, well, we have reached our halfway point. We've heard from 3 awesome schools and we have 3 more to go. So just a quick reminder, we've gotten some good questions in the Q&A, so we'd love to have more from our attendees. So please feel free to drop those in there for our representatives because they would love to make sure you're learning what you'd like to hear tonight. All right, so our next presentation is going to be from St. Mary's College of Maryland, and they're all set to go. So take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. My name is Jordan Cartwright. I went to St. Mary's a long time before any of you were students, but I'm going to talk to you about some of the things that make it special. So St. Mary's College is one of the public schools within the state of Maryland. We've been around for 180 years and we are located in Southern Maryland. So on the other side of the state from a lot of the schools that are speaking today. We are a campus that has a lot of rich history. We are known to be in the location of the Piscataway Conoy tribe. And we are also a school that has been recognized to be in the location of the 4th oldest English settlement in the country. So we actually have multiple beaches on campus. It is absolutely beautiful. And the scene behind me is actually an image of the beach sunset that is on our campus. So it's absolutely beautiful. So a couple of things that I want to break down really quickly. We are national by distinction. We are public as a public institution, and we're also the first honors college that was designated as an honors college in the country. In 1992, we got this designation from the state of Maryland elected officials, and we've had it ever since. So what does that actually mean? Well, it means that every single student who's at St. Mary's is immersed in a honors level curriculum. Regardless of the class that you take, you're getting that high quality learning experience, and it's very unique. In addition to this, you're actually learning from people who are experts. 98% of our faculty members actually hold PhDs. So you are in the classroom setting and you're learning from them, and they know your strengths, they know the things that you're weak in, and they also know how to improve you as a person. So honors comes with a couple of different expectations for academic excellence, but it is an experience where our students are really able to digest and understand that information on a deeper level. You're not just being talked at when you're in the classroom. You aren't just being asked to memorize things. You're asked to become an expert in that subject matter, to think about it critically and innovatively, and see how the things that you're learning in the classroom apply to the real world. So this is very, very unique to St. Mary's, and we are very proud of that designation. So students are learning through experiential and applied discovery. They are doing internship, they are having work experiences, they are taking the things that they're learning in classroom and applying it to the real world. Our most popular programs at St. Mary's are biology, environmental science, economics, history, and then also psychology. So these are some of our larger programs. We also guarantee every single student who steps through our doors the opportunity to do internships. So when it comes to developing and building a resume, there are a lot of different opportunities for students to start doing that in their sophomore year and then leave college with more than 2 or 3 work experiences. So this is going to help our students really get into those jobs and have purposeful careers once they're done with St. Mary's. There's also a ton of fun stuff that you can do on campus as well. I didn't mention this before, but I have a little sister who is a math and physics major, and she has decided to learn how to go horseback riding, and she's a part of our equestrian club. So this is just one of the 100 activities that our students are able to participate on our campus. Again, we're a smaller school of 1,500 students, and that translates into a smaller campus community, especially when it comes to clubs and class size. So our students are really getting the opportunity to be somewhere and feel like they actually belong there and participate in clubs and activities at a very high level. We have 21 different varsity sport opportunities. Our most renowned one would be our sailing team. It has produced over 150 All-Americans and 4 World Championship sailors. So a lot of really cool stuff there as well. When it comes to the things that we're looking at in the transcript, these are all of the requirements for a first-year applicant. We're looking at a lot of different things, but we do utilize a holistic review process. The SAT and the ACT are optional, meaning that you do not have to submit it to be awarded scholarship or be admitted. So this is not something that we are necessarily going to center in on. In terms of the decision deadlines, most of our students are applying early decision and early action. And these are the 3 different options that you can apply us with St. Mary's. So very important to check our website for any of those updates. So highlights of St. Mary's. We have graduated students with some of the lowest amounts of indebtedness out of every public school within the state of Maryland. And that typically is around $25,000 after 4 years of being a residential student. In terms of the things that students are doing once they graduate, within 6 months of graduation, 94% of our students are either going to graduate school or working a full-time job. So some really great opportunities for students to go into things that they're passionate about and things that they're really interested in, and this community empowers them to do that. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I am the Associate Director of Admission and also an alum. So you can reach me at that email or that phone at any point in time. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Jordan, for sharing more about St. Mary's College of Maryland. All right. Our next institution will be the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, UMBC.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. My name is Caitlin Henry. I'm one of the admissions counselors at UMBC, or University of Maryland, Baltimore County. If you're not familiar, we're located in Catonsville, Maryland. So we're about, I would say, 15 minutes away from city limits for Baltimore and only about 45 minutes away from DC. So we're very, very close to 2 major cities. I think that affords us a ton of opportunities for internships and things like that. But as you can see, based on this photo that you're seeing in front of you, our campus is really large. It's very open, it's very green, and that's one of the beautiful things about being in Baltimore County. We have about 500 acres in Catonsville, Maryland, but I promise you, it really doesn't have to feel quite that large unless you want it to. It's really easy to navigate from residential community to your class or from class to class in the course of a day. But if you wanted to take advantage of some of the nature trails and things like that on campus, you can definitely understand why the campus is so large. Another important thing to note about the campus is you're probably seeing this road that kind of wraps itself around the entire circle. That is because we're not a driving campus. So that tells you it's really easy to get around. A lot of our students are double majors or double minors. We need students to be able to get around from building to building very quickly. So it's really easy to take advantage of that. And also in your downtime, spend some time in the greenery or at the community garden and things like that. I won't go through everything on this map, like these landmarks and things like that. I really do recommend checking out our virtual tour online, just so you can do things kind of at your own pace. But just a couple quick notes about the campus. We have a lot of residential life on campus. So if you're looking to live on campus for maybe a year or maybe all 4 years, that option is there for you whenever you need it. But we also have a really, really big commuting population. So if you are in the area and you're looking to commute or you're looking to live off campus and come onto campus for your classes, you can absolutely do that and still have a community for yourself either way. So that is kind of the quick run through of the campus. But again, I do really recommend those virtual tours online. To give you kind of a quick overview of kind of the basic facts about UMBC, we have about 11,000 undergraduate students. We also have about 3,000 grad students, which is great. They provide a ton of research opportunities for our undergrads. But one thing that you'll hear from UMBC students, and it's something that surprised me when I came to UMBC, is that there's kind of like a Goldilocks effect. So students will say, it's not too big, but it's not too small. You can find that community for yourself. You can create a really great group of friends. You have access to your professors. But we have the resources of a larger institution at the same time. We consistently bring in somewhere between $80 and $100 million in research funding for faculty and students. And we have the resources of a really large career center and being close to kind of major organizations and things like that. So you have a little bit of the best of both worlds. In regards to academic programs, I want to kind of preface this by saying we're a very traditional liberal arts school. So if you are the kind of person where you're undecided or maybe you have multiple passions, UMBC is a really great place to kind of realize what you want to do or how you can blend those passions together. You'll see a lot of our students, like I said, double major, double minor, or they're on multiple kind of different programs, even if they're in completely different fields. So we have about 61 different majors that you can choose from. Lots of different kind of complementary programs like minors and pre-professional programs like pre-med. And you'll see some interesting combinations on campus because of that. We have a student in our office, his name is Joshua. He is a dance student and a pre-med program student, and he's going to graduate and go off to medical school. So you kind of have these really interesting combinations where students are exploring different passions and still having really realistic expectations for their future. About 82% of our students will do either an internship, research, or education abroad, although I will say most students will do more than one in their time at UMBC, but we really do emphasize that kind of applied learning so that you get an idea as to if you're in the right place for you in the future. Now, our students also work really hard. They also like to kind of take that into their downtime and use that time to explore different opportunities for themselves, find new ways to have fun. They also definitely take advantage of the community on campus. So we have over 270 student-driven clubs on campus. You won't find anything that students aren't genuinely interested in. And so there's a lot of opportunities for leadership positions or just engaging with your peers. We're also really close to 2 major cities. As I said before, there's a lot that happens there, whether it be a workshop or going out to dinner with your friends. So you can always take advantage of that, through UMBC Transit, or if you have a car, you can just pop into the city at your own kind of discretion. Now, for the application process, this is something that looks the same generally from year to year. So I really do recommend kind of checking in with your counselor if you have any questions. But just to give you kind of the quick run through, we have 2 deadlines for the fall. We have early action, which is not binding, and that's great. That is November 1st, and we have regular decision, which is February 1st. If you have questions about our test optional policy or anything like that, I highly, highly recommend reaching out to your counselor. So don't be shy. We would love to get to know you a little bit. But thank you so much for your time.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Caitlin, for sharing more about UMBC. All right, our final school presenting tonight will be the University of Maryland.
All right, thank you so much, Jennifer. Hello, everyone. My name is Larry Kalangi, and I am the Regional Admissions Coordinator for University of Maryland, based in Los Angeles. I do, however, recruit and review student applications. Just to get started, UMD is now ranked number 19, according to US News and World Reports. We take pride in our students, faculties, and staff members to make this great strive. Whether it's from our research, leadership labs, the rankings are based on more than 15 measures of academic quality, including graduation and retention rates. We're very proud of these distinctions and continue to foster excellence each and every year. We're also ranked number 10 and number 16 best value for in-state students and out-of-state students, respectively, by Kiplinger's Personal Finance. We have about 30,000 undergraduate students with over 800 student clubs and organizations. So there is really something for everyone. We also was voted #1 best colleges for LGBTQ students by Campus Pride. There are 12 academic colleges plus letters and sciences, which is an advising house for students that are undeclared or undecided. At University of Maryland, we have 90 academic majors and programs. Students can also double and triple major or declare a major and minor in another subject. I encourage you to find your passion. College is the time to find who you are, engage, and find your interests. Our most popular majors are computer science, business, government and politics, biological sciences, and engineering. Some of our majors are limited enrollment programs or LEPs. Because of their strong reputations, they are highly sought after majors, and we must limit enrollment to maintain program quality. As a result, these programs have competitive requirement beyond the admission standards of the university. The environment and the setting of your studies is a leadership lab. University of Maryland is uniquely positioned right outside of Washington, D.C. Beltway. All of our students can enjoy the abundance of cultural, professional, and recreational opportunities Washington, D.C. has to offer. And so many of our students decided to intern or work for federal agencies, nonprofit organizations, cultural experiences, and the National Smithsonian Museum. We're about 10 miles from the White House and about 20 miles from our state capital, Annapolis, Maryland. We're also surrounded by 3 major international airports that makes traveling to and from very easy. In the next couple minutes, I'm going to go over the application process, what we look for in an application this year. This year, we are on the Common App and the Collegian application. This year, we're also as optional, which means that test scores are not required to complete your application. Your application will still be reviewed holistically using the 25 admissions factors that are qualitative and quantitative in review. You will not be disadvantaged by deciding not to submit a test score. However, if you do decide to submit your test scores, ACT or SAT, they must be official test scores sent from the testing agency. If you do decide to submit the test scores, these will be considered as a part of your applications. Now, on the application, there will be an option for you to indicate if you want your test score considered during your review process. Please check the appropriate box in the form in the application. Once you make these decisions, you cannot change your decisions on the application, and you will be reviewed based on the information you provide. So think carefully, have that conversation with your parents and your counselors, whether if you are planning to submit your test scores or not. Again, you will not be disadvantaged for not submitting your test scores. We do also require 2 letter recommendations, 1 letter from your counselor and 1 from your teacher. Recommendation letters can speak to your resilience as a student, your ability to lead, and your work ethic in the classroom. Letters can also address any challenges or concerns. We do require an activity list or a resume to complete your applications. You should include information in your activity list regarding your community service, leadership, work experience, family obligations, or commitments. This is your time to talk about everything you did outside of the classroom. At University of Maryland, we do also require 1 essay. The prompt can be found on the Common App or Collegian, or you can choose to write anything you want. The purpose of the essay is for the admissions committee to learn more about you as a prospective students. Since we do not have an interview process, your essay can set you apart from other applicants. The University of Maryland is an early action school. November 1st is our early action. I know it is in a few days from now. We'll consider as an early action everything that's postmarked by the required date. And so let's say if your counselors didn't send us their letter recommendations October 28th and didn't receive to us by November 3rd, we will postmark the dates that it was sent to us. We also accept 90% of the admitted class is taken from this pool. So I encourage you to apply early action. November 1st is also our honors programs, living and learning, as well as merit-based scholarship deadline. So please do apply before early actions. Our regular decision deadline is January 20th, and you will be able to find your decisions by April. If you do apply early action, you will find your admission decisions by January. This actually concludes my presentations. As of now, our Welcome Center is still closed. So if you plan to visit campus in the spring, please check back on our website and follow us on our social media platforms at Apply Maryland on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook to check out what's happening. I will now pass it back on to Jennifer.
Thank you so much, Larry, for sharing more about the University of Maryland. Thank you for those of you who submitted questions. We have a couple where it's not specific to which school. So if your question hasn't been answered and you are directing it to a specific school or multiple schools and you want to include their name, please feel free to do so. Or any of our representatives can feel free to answer those questions that are undirected. So feel free. We have just a couple minutes left, but I would love to have all of our presenters return on camera and join us all back in a group. Before we end tonight, I'd like to have everyone answer a question and take just a 20, 25 seconds to tell our attendees a little bit more about a favorite experience, tradition, something that is really just special about the student experience, the campus community and culture that they could look forward to if they attended your school. We'll go in the order that you presented. So we'll start out with Johns Hopkins, and then as one finishes just next school, feel free to jump right in.
Cool. So lots of great traditions, but I'll just focus on one that I always think is great. We have a tradition called High Table, and it's right at the start of the semester. Our professors and our students come together to have a meal together. So it's not about any kind of specific subject area or anything like that, but it's just a chance for our community to come together, for the students and the faculty to have a relationship beyond just kind of student and teacher, but more collegial, so that as they work together in the classroom, in research and beyond that, it's not just kind of a one-sided, you're learning and they're teaching, but really you engage personally with each other. And it helps to really build those relationships over time. So that's one of my favorite.
One of mine at McDaniel is sort of based around our student social experience. Football is probably the biggest social event that you see all of campus coming out to. We're actually ranked number 6 in the country for our tailgating, just behind all of my Big 10, Big 12 friends. So it's definitely the type of experience where you're going to see theater kids tailgating at a football game, that there's sort of a space for everybody. You want to be able to have that small school experience and benefits in the classroom. You're able to have that while still having a piece of that bigger school social atmosphere.
So for me, mine might be a little dumb, but actually my favorite day on campus is move-in day. We have all of the staff and faculty, the president, everybody's there carrying boxes, helping students move in. A lot of times everything is in the room by the time they park their car and turn around. So it's just a really great way to welcome everybody to campus, give them an example of what the Mount community is really like. It's just always so great to see all the freshmen moving into campus and having a great time.
I would say my favorite tradition on campus would be our midnight breakfast. So it's something that we do before finals, or actually, I'm sorry, midterms and finals. And what happens is everyone comes together at midnight. We're all, waiting to the last minute to turn papers in. And we have this huge celebration where people do karaoke and eat junk food and get their sugar rush. And it's something that we use to just cheer on students as they go into those exams the next day. And I think it's special.
For UMBC, I would say one of my favorite things would be ERCAD. It's Undergraduate Research and Creative Achievement Day. It's kind of like a big symposium on campus. So you have all of the art students performing, you have all these great poster presentations and kind of like TED Talks happening on campus every single year, where everyone shares kind of what they've been working on, and they, talk with their mentors and their professors. So it's really interesting to see this kind of think tank on campus. So that's probably my favorite event.
For University of Maryland, football, of course, and basketball are our biggest social event and traditions. But I do think that because of our advantage of where we at, all of our students actually enjoy a lot during spring semester. DC is accessible to us, and so all of our students take advantage of the cherry blossoms during springtime. And so that is one of our biggest, traditions. I am originally from Washington, D.C., and now I'm located in LA, and I think I'm looking forward to be back in D.C. during spring semester next year. So.
Oh, awesome. I love everyone sharing these traditions. I want to go look up pictures. I smile because I know such a fun sense of community at campus events and programming of all kinds in and out of the classroom. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. We are reaching the end of our time together. I hope that for everyone who's attended, you enjoyed learning more about these 6 fantastic schools and are inspired to go learn more as you work through your college admissions process and decision making. And thank you to our presenters for sharing not just facts and figures, but how much you all are passionate for the student experience at your schools. When you all close your window, there'll be a link to a very quick 4-question survey. We'd appreciate any feedback that you can provide. Also, this is just one of many sessions that are being offered, so we hope you'll sign up for additional programs. In about a week's time, you'll be able to find this session's recordings, as well as all of the other sessions recordings posted where you registered for you to watch again or learn more about other programs. Thank you again to everyone for attending, and best wishes. Good night.